Well, you have finally got here. You are listening to the Erskine Music Podcast. Here, by popular demand, we discuss life, culture, Christ, and of course, music. These half-hour broadcasts are perfect for a commute, coffee time, chat, or any other gap in your schedule where you want to put great content. So without further ado, let's join the conversation today, already in progress.
Ay. Woo. Beautiful lies. I begin with the Democratic National Convention. I've been watching some of that. Bill Clinton, one of the worst American presidents. Yes, in my humble opinion. We begin with a good morning to Bill Clinton. If he wants to come on the Erskine Music Show, you are more than welcome to do so. These are highlights from the Democratic National Convention that happened last night. As we are presently constructed now and presently fixed in time and space, our good friend, the next liar of the United States, Kamala Harris, is due to receive the nomination for the Democratic National Convention. And you guys know I don't carry any briefs on this show. I don't like the Democratic Party. But I will also talk about why I don't like the Republican Party on this particular episode. In fact, for those of you who are Democrats who recognize that, you've been a little hard on us lately, I'll be a little more even-handed today. We had Tom Buck on the show yesterday. It was an incredible discussion that we had. There's people who are still tuning in and chiming into the discussion that we had yesterday regarding politics, and I love the fact that Christians are being challenged. That is, for me, the safe place to be. When myself, as a follower of Jesus Christ, I love Jesus with all my heart. I love Jesus with all my passion. My time, talent, and treasure is directed to nothing solely and only the love of Jesus Christ and the proclamation of the gospel of Jesus Christ. You just have to know that off the jump. But here's one thing that I am so excited about, and that is the fact that Christians are actually being challenged. Folks, we live on easy street. We think about our persecuted brothers and sisters in Christ who are experiencing actual persecution, actual tribulation, the nonsense that is this American system of whatever we call this. I think we call it church. I don't know what we call it. Fellowship. I don't know what we call it. We are actually getting our butts kicked. And I actually like it because it's causing us to have to go back to the Word. It's causing us to have to go back to the Lord and have some honest conversations. It's causing us to have to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, Lord, what kind of person am I? And then unfold the rest of the conversation. And so I'm really loving this, but let me stop this in time and space. Coach Waltz. And he gave a great speech last night. I'm just going to go ahead and say, I don't know who the speechwriters are. I don't know who the coaches are for the Democratic National Convention. But they are clearly kicking the butt of the Republicans. They are kicking that butt. The Republican National Convention needs to take some notes from the Democratic National Convention. I look at the Republican National Convention, can only stand it for about 10 seconds. It's a monolith of one particular type of people. And you pan across the audience. Here's three things. I'm going to give you three things, and then we're going to start the show today. Just so you know. Just in case it wasn't clear for everybody, I am not a Democrat. I have never been a Democrat. I come from a family of Democrats. I have friends and neighbors who are Democrats. I don't demonize the Democrats. I demonize their platform. Let me be clear about that. I think it's straight out of hell. It's straight of the devil. But let me be clear about this as well. You Republicans, because I'm not a Republican, you Republicans need to take some notes. Get your pen and paper out, folks. Get your tablets out. Get your phone out. Republicans, start taking some notes because the Democrats are kicking your rear end with their Democratic National Convention. The speakers are better.
In your face, sucker!
They just are. Except for Chuck Schumer. And in fact, I don't understand how Chuck Schumer's in the position that he was in. He can't even read from a teleprompter. Chuck Schumer's speech was awful. It was awful. And it was just no energy whatsoever in the room. But the Obamas, guy that I just showed on there, Bill Clinton, and these are not even people that I would resonate with in any way, shape, form, or fashion. People I would honestly say from Monday's episode or Tuesday's episode, if you saw that, people I just don't like. Listen, I'm a Christian. I need to love people. People I just don't like. Because I think they lie. They lie through their teeth, and we're going to talk about that today. And they lie to enslave people into what it is. Both sides do this, by the way. But the speakers are better. They just are. I don't know. The Republicans know better than to try to ask me to come up there and speak on their behalf. So they already don't have access to some of the better speakers that are out there. I understand. That's your problem. Yeah, it's your problem, Republicans. But the speakers are better in the Democratic National Convention. Because why? They're propagating this lie of a utopia that we can all have. Remember President Obama? He just get up there and lie through his teeth. Hope and peace, and America's going to flourish, and we're going to do all these different things, and we're going to handicap Americans with this high insurance rates and bills and all the different things and taxes. Awful president. But man, he could spin that lie so well. Woo, you just want to listen to him. You would feel like when Obama was speaking, man, I want to hang out with that guy. He seems like a cool dude. So the speakers are better. I'm just going to go ahead and say, Republicans, you need to step the game up. If it's just my honest opinion, and it is the Erskine Music Show. The crowd production is better, and I don't know if the same people that produced the Republican National Convention produced the Democratic National Convention, but the crowd, the production, the energy, the coordination of things is just much better. Republicans, some of that stuff was clunky. You know, some of the Republicans are staunch, sort of Midwest people. They kind of fixed, all right, that's fine. I got nothing against that kind of personality. But the Republican National Convention kind of had that personality. The Democratic National Convention has people who are flamboyant, people who are eccentric. And when you have that, just the dynamism of people that you see in the audience and people's participation. Republican National Convention reminds me of a lot of church services that I'm in. People sit on their hands. Oh, Jesus, should we be excited about him? No, let's just listen and think about it. The Democratic National Convention actually had energy. And I'm just going to say the crowd and the production was better. I'm not a Democrat. Doggone it. And their message is clear. I think that they're ready to take you on. I think they're ready to take you on.
Fight.
You know what the Democrats have done in this Democratic National Convention? I can tell from Speaker 1 to all the way till last night. And I haven't watched all of it, by the way. I haven't watched every single second of it because I could not tolerate that. I would choke to death on all the lies that they're telling out there. However, I will say they want to fight you on the issue of women's reproductive rights, i.e. abortion, i.e. murder. You can cancel the show if you want to, YouTube. They want to fight you on that, Republicans. You better not back down. Oh, but wait, the last time I checked, you've softened on that issue as well. Oh, the Republicans don't even... Oh, the Republicans have no more courage. I don't know what you're going to do, Donald Trump. You might win, but they're ready for a fight.
Fight.
And I actually like it. Let's get to the Erskine Music Show today. Oh, well. All right, let me get this up here. This is the beginning of season 9. So I got to figure out where all the buttons are at. You take 2 months off and then you come back and it's like, yeah, where is that button? But I got you, folks. All right, at some point, I would love to sit down with Candace Owen because I am watching something remarkable take place in her life. I used to just be on edge when I would hear Candace Owens. She was one of those people that was annoying to me. And as I told you before, I'm very clear about that. There's some people I don't like. You're like, you're a Christian. You're not supposed to say that. But most Christians don't say that. They just act like that behind your back. I'm going to honestly tell you, there's some people that I don't like. Candace Owens was one of those people I didn't like. And it wasn't jealousy. It was just she had a certain edge to herself that I was like, it's unnecessary. Why call yourself a Christian? Have the kind of edge that you have and it not in some way filter into just the wisdom that you would operate in. And I don't know if it's a revival or I don't know what's going on with her, but she's turned this corner into the more mature Candace, who's a mother now, a wife, She's comfortable with that. She doesn't need people's approval. She doesn't need people's commendation. She doesn't need the Republicans. She doesn't need the nation of Israel. She doesn't need Ben Shapiro. She's not riding on anybody's coattails. And I'm finally seeing this freedom begin to manifest itself in Candace Owens that is refreshing to me. I don't understand. I used to want to like
Fight.
debate with her about stuff because she was too much. And you might think that about me, but here's somebody who's also way too much, and it's Andrew Tate. I can't play the first part of the interview because, well, we want to try to make this a family show, and I know there's some kids who watch this, and so I want to make sure that their ears are not violated by hearing. There might even be some homeschool kids who watch this. Andrew Tate used some words that you've never heard before, and so it's okay. And I'm certainly not endorsing Andrew Tate, but a broken clock can be right 2 times a day. The broken clock is right 2 times a day. And he's a broken clock as far as I'm concerned. Some of the stuff that he said about Islam, he's silly. He is silly. Clown. However, let me play a segment of this interview and get to why I think the Democrats and the Republicans are pulling the wool over your eyes. The Democrats and the Republicans have you duped. The Democrats and the Republicans are making buffoons out of you.
Well, that certainly gives a sense of why people enjoy this show. Very engaging, very heartfelt. We will return to the conversation in a few moments, but first, let's thank our sponsors and you for all your awesome support. Moody Radio's Dawn and Steve Morning Show, Life Action Ministries, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and Holt International. Thanks so much to our partners who make such a difference.
Thanks, Jason. This is Dawn.
And this is Steve of Don and Steve in the Morning on Moody Radio. You can find us online at donandsteve.org, or you can listen through the Moody Radio app.
And as friends of the Erskine Music Show, we always enjoy the variety of topics our friend has on his show.
So, on behalf of our show, thanks, Erskine, for bringing great Christ-centered topics to the people.
All right, let's get back to the show. This is where it gets good.
And I had Tom on yesterday, and it was like we were having this wonderful discussion about Christians and how the Christian is to vote, and can a Christian vote Democratic, and what are the principles and the party and the platform. And listen, the Democratic Convention platform is demonic. I'm very clear about that. It is inspired by demons, is a doctrine set on fire by hell itself. The torturing of, I won't go into that. The Republican National Convention is equally tenuous. And I think that was the tension point in which Tom and I were talking yesterday. If you're a Republican, you're not a very easy and comfortable Republican. And there's some people who stick their head in the sand, and it's like there's one issue, one side is for it, so I'm going to not be involved in it. I don't care about this trash. I'm just going to vote my issue, vote the party, do the thing. And there's some people who are not even going to pay attention to any of it. They're just going to vote Republican, or they're going to vote Democrat. That's what they're going to do. They stick their head in the sand. I actually think that there's pastors who should be equipping their people to be able to think through this issue. And one of the things that they need to be, I believe, I'm not going to tell you how to pastor your church, need to be telling people is that this worldly system that we have, this kingdom of man, there's buffoons, literally clowns that are out there that are trying to take over your mind. And they're Republicans and they're Democrats and they're bought and they're cowards and they're just go into all of those different things. So that's where we live. Some pastors are just so focused on the gospel that they're not even going to engage. And to a certain degree, I respect that. But then there's another degree in which I say, maybe lift your, the indicatives of the Christian life, the indicatives of Christian ministry should lead to some imperatives, which is the actual training and equipping of your people. Break it down so you can build it up. Every good coach knows that you're going to have to break your team down so you can build them up. They're going to need to run. They're going to need to hurt. They're going to need to be sore so that they can win. All right, so Andrew Tate is going to come on here. And look, they started out talking about this controversy with the president of France, and the fact that he's married to a man Dude looked like a lady. I'm not going to get into any of that. I do not care one iota about that, except to say that they believe that the French government is lying, and that the French government is lying, the American government is lying, the Chinese government is lying. There's a bunch of liars that are in government, and so I'm not going to even get wrapped around the axle on that. But what he has to say here, and I'm going to give you 3 things based on this conversation that are going to speak to where I feel like Christians, I'm talking to my own camp now, Christians can make the most application to what is being said here. And he's not a pastor. He's not paid by the church. He doesn't have to smile a certain way like Joel Osteen or be really kind of tricky like Michael Todd or any of these guys who are false prophets, false teachers who are out there. He's just going to tell it like it is from his vantage point. And he's jacked up, but every once in a while he'll hit a note and I'm like, that was perfectly in tune, my brother.
Say, look, this is unusual. Even if she is a woman, which is
we'll
highly debatable. The fact that she's 30 years older, and it's all just a bit weird. But if you want to mention these things, you're right. You're called a crazy conspiracy theorist because so many people are so desperate to conform. I came to this unfortunate.
Now that's the point that I want to get to. People are desperate to conform. Show me the box that I can run into. Show me the people that I can hang out in, and I'll just go get in that group of people, and then I'll just sit in my place. And it happens at every area of society. There's people who want to conform. We don't want to be the kid that's on the playground playing by himself in the sand where everybody else is doing their own thing. Right? We want to figure out where everybody else is so that we can feel good about ourselves. Conformity. I'm going somewhere with this.
Realization recently, especially in light of the Kamala garbage.
And I would just echo that. There's going to be, if you're going to watch the Democratic National Convention tonight and Kamala receive the nomination for the Democratic convention, you're going to listen to some more Kamala garbage.
There's a whole bunch of people who want to be slaves. They literally want to be. You sit and say, why can't you convince people to see the truth? And then you realize it's because they don't want to see the truth. They want to be a slave because it makes them feel the same way a child feels when they get attention from their parents.
Now, he said a lot right there. Listen, again, I'm not an Andrew Tate guy. Don't put that on me. Don't write to the Erskine Music Show and be like, hey, you love Andrew Tate, because if you watched any of my shows, you know I am not an Andrew Tate guy. But he's speaking some bars right here. He's speaking some facts to Candace Owens when they're sitting down and they're talking about the fact that people want to be controlled. They feel comfortable when they're controlled in the right way. And I think at least I hope there is, I pray that there is enough people who are willing to buck against the system in a good way to be able to say, maybe not. Maybe that's not the best way. Maybe that's not the right way for us to go. Homeschooling, we had to buck against the system. And at times, one of the conversations that I have in my house, at least, is we're always going against the grain. Homeschool against the grain. Independent music artist. Why don't we look for a label? There's several labels out there that I think we could probably, if we got in a box, if we got into our slavery corner and just did, yes, massa, I'll sing that song for you. Yes, massa, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Oh yeah, I'll go out there and dance, and okay, yes, massa. If we would done that, sign to a label, easy. Play the game. Be a slave. People do that in their politics. People do that in their workplace. People do that all the time. It's like, who wants to be a slave today? All right, Slavery Central. Who wants to be a slave today and get into little boxes that people want to put you in? And so, listen, you guys know that I talk a lot about the Southern Baptists. I love Southern Baptists. I love Southern Baptists. And to this day, if you were to play hymns, and some of the hymns that I grew up in Southern Baptist churches, there might be a little tear that streams down my eye. I love, with an endearment of Southern Baptists, in a way that sometimes Southern Baptists don't love Southern Baptists. But I couldn't be in that box. I couldn't play Yes Massa. Yes Massa. Let's do it this way. Because independent thinkers usually only get credit posthumously, and I'm okay with that. Independent thinkers become leaders not because at the time their views are viewed as courageous, But over time, people begin to say, their craziness is not so crazy anymore. Their fringeness is not so fringe anymore. This whole idea of the persecuted church, planting churches, not using buildings, not using all these funds, but using the environment and the space that God has given you, Mike in Acts when they went house to house, and doing those types of things a little bit different. But you know what? That might be what is needed to get away from all the nonsense. Let them cook.
They want to be good slaves to the system, and they hope that will prevent them from getting shot. Now, we know our history. It means they'll get shot last.
Man, hang on.
But they'll still get shot.
Right.
I love that statement. We want to be people who conform to the point where things go easy for us. Listen, most of my audience, there's an international audience that watches this, but most of my audience that's watching today is from the contiguous 48 states in the United States of America. And what do conservative people complain about? They complain about the fact that we are not like we used to be. Our society has slidden down the pike. We're into all sorts of gross, evil, transgender, all the different ideations that people have out there, and that we're just not a good, decent, moral, involved people anymore. Why? Because it's so uncomfortable to be around people who are not like you, to be around people who are actually showing you. In East Nashville, people don't care. They don't care about your religion. They just do what they do. And they don't care that you do what you do. Just leave them Oh, yeah, I got to censor myself. Alone. And so it's uncomfortable. Find me a box that I can get into. On the other side, it's the exact same thing. I'm going to be a box in my own with my own people doing my own thing, and this is what we do. Leave me alone. Let's go stay in our box over here. We're not going to hang out with anybody else that's not like us, all right? We're not going to make a pact. We don't even need to make a pact. It's just an understood agreement. Let's not have anybody around us that's not like us. Slavery. And so a lot of times we feel like that's the comfortable and safe position because we won't get shot. We'll just kind of have our seat on the bus and everything will be okay. And what Andrew Tate is saying is, it's not that you won't get shot. You won't get got because you're already got. It's just that it's going to take you a little bit longer to get you because you're in the seat with everybody else. He's speaking bars.
So you have to make a decision as a man, especially, like, do I want to die first like a hero for telling the truth, or do I want to die a few years later like a coward?
Listen, I called another man a coward not many months back. And we had to have a sit-down conversation because this was not a man who wanted to take that very lightly. And in the midst of our conversation, he said, what man would want to be called a coward? And I would submit to you that he was right in his assessment. No man wants to be called a coward, but there are many men who need to be called cowards, and we need to define what their cowardice is. I believe the Church of Jesus Christ is uniquely qualified to be able to do that. I believe that this book right here that I'm holding in my hands is also known as the Bible. That if people would read it and understand what it has to say there about in reference to Christ, we would be uniquely equipped to be able to tell people the level of their cowardice. The level of their cowardice that would put other things before Christ. Your job, well, have at that. You might have a nice house. You might have nice things. You might be able to go on nice vacations, but if you're putting your job before your ultimate relationship with the Lord, you're a coward. If you're putting your job or the things that you have or the things that you can accrue or the name that you've gotten for yourself ahead of your relationship with the Lord and ahead of your family, you're a coward. If you're a single man, I had a young man who came up to me a couple of weeks ago and he said, hey, I have a relationship. I'm not going to tell his name, but I will tell the circumstances because it's not uncommon for me to meet young men who are in this circumstance. I'm active sexually with a young lady, and we've been that before. We're trying to not do that. And we want to have a relationship, but we want to have a pure relationship. So I said, so you guys need to be apart, break up. Go serve the Lord. Go figure it out. Well, do you think we need to actually break up, or can we just spend? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to give you the parameters of how it is that you can skirt around sin, flee youthful lust. That's what the Bible says. And it was very clear to me that this person did not want to make those kind of adjustments in life. We bring people, this is the beauty of Christianity, is we bring people to a break point in their lives. And the Holy Spirit is the only one that can change that in people's lives. But we do have to bring people to a certain break point in their lives for them to be able to recognize, oh, damn, I don't want to do that.
Well, you probably already know that when you hear that sound, there's music on the way. After all, this is kind of a music show. Sit back and enjoy. All the music can be easily found on your favorite digital distribution channels. Turn up the volume and here we go.
They say it's all in my head, it's all in my mind. How could I love someone I've never seen? They say it's all in my head, it's all in my mind. How could I love you with every part of me? They say there's nothing special when I take a stand, 'cause they don't seem to understand what I am is who I am. Real life is more than virtual reality. Some believe and never see what they say is not stopping me. Yeah. They say it's all in my head, it's all in my mind. How could I love a God that I've never seen? They say it's all in my head, it's all in my mind. How could I love you with every part of me? I know that I am not the only one who sees the stars and feels the sun and knows just how it all was done. You know, we can't take back our yesterday, the things we do and words we say, pave the path and lead the way. They say it's all in my head, it's all in my mind. How could I love a God that I've never seen? They say it's all in my head, it's all in my mind. How could I love you with every part of me? Yeah. 'Cause if it's all in my head, then I'm just lost in my sin. I'm lost within, I'm lost and need a friend. 'Cause if it's all in my head, then I'm just singing my songs, words, verse, time to move on, yo. 'Cause if it's all in my head, then I'm just trapped in a maze. I'm lost in this life, I'm lost in living days. 'Cause if it's all in my head, it's all in my head. They say it's all in my head, it's all in my mind. Yeah, how could I love a God I've never seen? They say it's all in my head, all in my mind. How could I love you with every part of me? Yeah, 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 yeah. Every part of me, yeah, yeah, yeah. In the heart of me, yeah, yeah, yeah. All over me, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that word was intentional, because that is literal. Listen, I live in the real world. Literally the response that you get from people. I'm not asking you to come to church. I'm asking the entire orientation of your life. We're very small as a house church. We've been at this 3.5 years now. We're very small. And I've asked people if they were going to come to church, but I've never begged anybody to come to church. I don't even feel like that's the locus point, other than us rallying together to worship Jesus for what it is that should be happening in our lives. Discipleship and growth in Christ should happen all the time in all the spaces that we find ourselves in. And so I'm kind of more focused on that. Yeah. The worship will be great, because if we're truly coming to worship the Lord, it'll be fantastic. We have a liturgy, Nicene Creed, like we're lectionary readings, all the different things. But if your life is not lived to the glory of God in every moment, in every place that you are, in everything that you're doing, you either, A, don't understand Christianity and you're ignorant, which is fine. We're all ignorant at a certain point. I don't mind calling you ignorant. I don't mind at certain times myself being called ignorant if there's something that I don't know, because it's incumbent upon me to go figure out what it is that I need to know to do what it is that I need to do. So be ignorant, be humble, be a learner, be faithful, available, teachable. But then there's another category of people who know what they need to do. They know they need to spend more time with their family. They know they need to stop looking at pornography and treasure their wife in a particular way. But if you bring up the point, damn, they're not going to do it. And Christianity is uniquely fit to be able to do this. Love your wife. Honor the Lord. Reach deep into your pocket and don't just give a little fragment. Here's some pennies. Here's the leftover change. Reach deep down into your pocket and give sacrificially to the work of the Lord. Give sacrificially in relationship to your neighbors and the people that are around you. Give sacrificially of your time, talent, and treasure. We're not going to do it. You're asking too much now. Are we really asking too much? Are we asking too much to ask the entirety of your lives to be given over for Christ? Because I'm referencing that against what Christ has done on our behalf. And I'm wondering, he went, no sins that he had committed, this double imputation, no sins that he had committed, went to a cross to die for sinners who were in rebellion against him, yelling, crucify him. Let me give you an option here. You can take Barabbas. He's a sucker. Jesus, I don't know if we can really find anything wrong with him, but there's obviously some Jewish officials who are upset with him. I'll release Barabbas or release Jesus. Let's take Barabbas. Release that guy. We know he's a sucker. Jesus, let's see what happens to him. He saved others. Let him save himself. That's the Jesus who died for you. And we're uniquely gifted by God's word and by the power of the Holy Spirit to be able to say to a world, you're coming to a break point. I'm not asking you to join an organization like this, the Glee Club. I'm not asking you to give some pittance of your resources so that you can placate your conscience that you've actually done something for the Lord. Whew, I'm wonderful. I'm not asking you to give a moment of your time. We meet sometimes 2-3 hours on Sunday, sometimes 6 hours if we watch a movie after we get done, or hang out, or do prayer walks, or do all the different things. I'm not asking you to give your 30-minute service and your 10-minute sermon and your little pittance of money. It's the entirety of your lives. And so we bring people to a break point. Cowards run from that. Courageous people jump to the front of the line. They say, you know what? If we're going to hold the flag for Jesus, let's hold the flag for Jesus. Instead of retreating in this battle, get the hell up and let's charge the hill. And you guys know I love the Civil War, and so I'm going to show illustrations of what this actually looks like reenacted. The flag is about to fall. If you're so upset about the things that are going on in our country, maybe you need to pick the dang flag up and charge the hill. Wait a minute, everybody else is running away. Everybody else is scared. Well, tell them to get the hell up and charge the hill with you. Or you know what? If they're going to be scared and get shot in the back, I'm not going to get shot in the back. People don't talk about Christianity. Pastors don't even talk about Christianity this way, because they know that they will lose their job if they offend that family who is a big tithe giver at their church. But every Sunday, practically, their kids are on the ball field because they got to play AAU, because they got to get their kids to college because they're such a beautiful family. I might offend that family and then lose all of these resources. You know, pastors won't talk about these kind of things. You know that. You already know that. Here's Andrew Tate speaking some facts. He didn't even know that he's speaking facts. I don't even think he's regenerate. Matter of fact, Andrew Tate, now that I'm speaking your name, I don't want to use your name in vain. Andrew Tate, if you want to come on my show, the Erskine Music Show, I invite you. If you know Andrew Tate, tell Andrew Tate to bring his bald-headed self up on this thing, and we're going to have a conversation.
And I guess that's where you see the differentiation in the opinions, the dichotomy of the different types of men who are living in the world today. But it's really crazy that so many people will sit there and consistently consume lies and garbage after they've been lied to so many times, and they feel like they get some kind of, I don't know if it's satisfaction, I don't know if it's warmth, I don't know what they feel in their heart when they just subjugate themselves to these people. Maybe it's like cuckdom, they like to feel like a cuck. They like to feel stupid. There's no other way. There's a whole bunch of people who want to be enslaved to these systems.
I think slavery is natural, actually. I thought about this for a long time because I'm going, how could you accept this? Like somebody telling you to stay at home, not see your family, double mask, let your parents die alone. Yep. Everything spiritually should be coming online going, this is not natural, this is wrong, and I'm going to fight this. But they get in line. And even when they know it's wrong, they're still fearful to speak out and say that for fear of persecution. And something that a study that I showed, like a study that was done by the CIA, an experiment rather, to my audience was where they sat a bunch of people in a room. This is a true CIA experiment. And 17 of them were agents and one of them was from the public, but he didn't know that he was the only person that wasn't an agent. Yep. And they held up a picture of a triangle and they went around the room and they said, what do you see? And every agent, went through them first and they said square, 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 square. It was clearly a triangle, square, 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 square. They get to that last guy and he says, square. Knowing fully that he is seeing a triangle. Yep. So what they understand is that peer pressure, like the psychology of peer pressure is a real thing, but it's stunning to me that grown men succumb to this. There's something that's unbelievably wrong about that.
All right, so we're not going to keep cooking on this because I think I've made my point for this show. Let's see what kind of time we have left. I don't think I have any time left. I'll try to keep this at an hour. Yeah, I don't have any time left. So I was going to talk about follow the money, what's at stake, courage is clear, but I think I've made my point on this show. Is there anything else that I need to say on this show, Big Head? I don't think there's anything else that I need to say. There's nothing else that I need to No, nothing. All right, I've made the point, and I'm going to leave it at that point and just simply say this. I'm wondering if there's any men out there who actually have any courage left in their bones. I don't know. If you don't want to charge the hill with me, that's fine. If you want to get shot in the back, that's fine. If you want to make every possible excuse why you cannot talk to other people about Jesus, that's fine. You do what you need to do. But in the analogy that Candace Owens gave, if you're 17 people out there and they're like, people don't respond to evangelism anymore. That was back in the 70s and we used to have EE and we used to do all these different things. That is... I censored myself. You know what people respond to? And you know the reason why I don't have problems with people when I buck? Because I buck. Young man came to the door last weekend. We were doing evangelism. I knocked on his door and he said, hey, I don't believe this stuff. I was like, well, what is your religion? I'm not a very religious person at all. And I said, no, that's untrue, sir. You are a very religious person. You just made your religion up. You make religion up. You are an arrogant person. He said, why would you say that? Because everybody believes something that motivates what it is that they do. And so your system of, well, I'm not going to believe that or believe that, but I'll believe what it is that I believe. It's going to motivate my actions and verify what it is and authenticate what it is that I believe is my religion. He said, it's a fair point. And he actually said, you know what? I appreciate you guys are giving your time on a Saturday, going around talking to somebody about something that you believe in. That's. It was like he was saying, you know what, at least it's courageous. I don't believe it, but at least it's more courageous than what it is that most people do. How much do I have to hate you? And I'm talking about my low-level, bad attitude, unsanctified self that needs to grow progressively in my sanctification, that is actually growing and liking more people more and more, is way better than the people who say they know Jesus, but they won't talk to anybody for fear that they might look at them and say, you know what? I don't believe what you believe. Really, that's going to hurt your feelings? That's going to hurt your feelings? Oh my goodness. When did we become candy land? And so I don't know what you're going to do. Get shot in the back if you want to. I don't care. I'm not going to stand before the Lord for you. Why did he get shot in the back? I don't know why he got shot in the back. I'm not going to get shot in the back. I'm going to charge the hill. The one thing that you need to know about Erskine Music is wherever we go, that Jesus, which screen is it in? That's that screen. It's that side. Wherever we go, we're going to be talking about the Jesus story. What is the Jesus story? We're going to tell the comprehensive story as much time as you will give me. From Genesis to Revelation. Genesis to Revelation. That's it. Creation, fall, redemption, consummation. We're going to tell that story, and then I'm going to tell my story about what that has done in my life, and then I'm going to invite other Christians to tell the story about what Jesus has done in their life.
We have come to the end of this episode. Don't miss a final word from Erskine.
Hey guys, tell your friends about this show, and as always, I look forward to your interactions. Please contact us as you are able. We love to hear from you. Okay, friends, let's go and make a difference.